demons, devils, devils. They're all around us. We cannot often see them, but they're watching us. The book of Daniel in the Bible even calls them the Watchers. In fact, is the world populated by stony, beast, devils? Are we often, at the most unexpected times, face to face with the devil? In this video, you will see evidence that, in fact, devils have been seeded throughout planet Earth. They may be in your front yard. They could be carved in furniture in your home. They might be up high in a skyscraper, on a ledge, watching you as you walk along with other passers-by on the streets of a major American city. Pore over the evidence presented in this outstanding documentary video, Face to Face with the Devil, and decide for yourself, has the devil truly come down to earth? Are we not face to face with the devil, and are these not close encounters of the unexpected kind? In fact, much of the dark architecture on this planet is consecrated to the devil's work. Freemasons regularly conduct occult rituals in the laying of cornerstones during the first stage of construction of innumerable public buildings. The occult wisdom tells us that serpents, he-goats, dragons, and other horned beasts actually inhabit devils, also called demons. They're seemingly under the purview of the devil himself and under his control and command. It was Albert Pike, 33rd degree, the illustrious former sovereign grand commander of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, who once declared the fealty and loyalty of Masons to Lucifer when he declared that the Masonic religion is maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. Would it surprise us then to find that many Masonic architecture structures across this world hide, conceal stony beast, horned devils, and other creatures of the night and from hell? Architecture, of course, according to Manly P. Hall, 33rd degree, in his book, The Secret Destiny of America, architecture is the chosen instrument for the grand design, the building of the perfect world. But is a world populated by devils perfect to you? Well, it is to the devil and to his human agents and spiritual creatures who worship him. And so let us visit the devils that we can find if we simply look close enough. If we do not simply walk on by, but carefully investigate the environment all around us, we may be surprised. They may be lurking in the airport, in churches, in government buildings, and, as I noted, perhaps in your own home or that of your neighbor. We've come first to the he-goat. Many people do not realize that the he-goat is in fact a devilish creature. Of course, it's also simply one of the creatures of nature invented by God. But look at the book of Daniel, and it tells us about the great he-goat that comes in the last days and stamps even upon the holy people and waxes, that is, became very great in the last days, a sign of the last days empire of Satan. In the 19th century, a Satanist named Eliphas Levi created an idol of the devil in the form of Baphomet, the great goat god. He was worshipped by the Knights Templar and by Gnostics and Satanists, and many say even in the Illuminati systems of today. This foul Luciferian goat god, Baphomet, is worshipped. Notice his androgynous, that is male and female, appearance. The torch of light on his head, the horns that come out of the goat's head. Notice the satanic pentagram, the two serpents coming out of the genital area, and of course the horned goat hooves. Now it's interesting that Aleister Crowley, known as one of the most vicious and most horrible Satanists of the 20th century, was in fact a man who called himself Baphomet, and in his book, The Book of the Law, published in 1904, Aleister Crowley, the great British Satanist, who once bragged that he was the wickedest man on the planet and self-styled his own being as the Antichrist, signed in that book his name. But it wasn't Aleister Crowley. He signed the name Baphomet, and this was the symbol of the seal of the Grand Master of the OTO, that is a secret satanic organization of which Aleister Crowley was the head. His seal was Baphomet. He was the Grand Master, but what is this strange creature? In fact, it appears to be a cockatrice. Some call it the basilisk. The cockatrice, a serpent that is even mentioned in the Bible as a creature of evil. Baphomet. In the Church of St. Mary in France today, we find this strange character. Is this not Baphomet? And what is he doing in a Christian cathedral? In the United States of America, in the town of New Haven, Connecticut, is one of the most prestigious universities in the world, Yale University. Visit that university, and what do you find in the building that houses the education and sociology departments? Yes, indeed, you find a carving of Baphomet. But this time, Baphomet, well, he's been cleaned up a little bit. He's wearing a three-piece suit, and he's lurking inside the archwork. But nevertheless, look carefully. Look at the horn. Look at the goat's head. It's Baphomet at Yale University. Of course, it is at Yale University where they have the Order of Skull and Bones. And in fact, even the city of New Haven, Connecticut, was originally designed so that the skull and bones in a cemetery would be in the very center of the town, way back in the 18th century. Of course, the skull and bones, as is shown from this page 158 from the book Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry, an authoritative source, we find that in one of the Masonic rituals, the sacred word of Satan, Abaddon, is expressed, and we see a black and white drawing of the skull and bones. The horns of the devil seem to be, well, let's just say they get around. They're everywhere. And when we see these horns, of course, they can simply be horns of a bull or an oxen or another creature, or of something like this being. This is a recreation from the book of Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, a 33rd degree Mason. And this is said to be Jupiter, or Pan, the horned goat god. He was also a musician. Oh, he was a flutist. And he was able to lure people with his siren songs played on the flute. Here we have Jupiter, which was his astrological name, or Pan. There are many representations of this Jupiter, this Pan, this Baphomet. We see some of them here. Look at them very carefully. In the Church of Satan that was founded by the high priest Anton LaVey, we find the blonde bombshell actress Jane Mansfield and many others who actually worship Satan and invoke the powers of satanic black magic, and priest Anton LaVey performing a ritual for Miss Mansfield at her home in Hollywood. Notice, of course, the skulls there on the small table, and Mr. LaVey, of course, or Priest LaVey, with his horned headdress. He is the author of the Satanic Bible that even to this day is one of the top 5 bestsellers of all time and continues to be sold in bookstores across the world. In it are contained the 9 satanic statements, the 9 satanic doctrines or belief. And of course, the most important of all, Satan advises his followers, do what thou will shall be the whole of the law. A well-known witchcraft newspaper carried this illustration. Notice a picture of the great goddess and the horned god, Satan, and the pentagram star, and they're upholding the earth, and below, of course, the little cherub of love. Could it be their son? A occult organization put this ad in another magazine. Notice they're advising people manifest the world through magic. We have the cloven hoof god with the horns and his goddess, and again, the very symbols of Satanism. Throughout the world, we find evidences of this horn. Did you know that even the Ionic column, very common in architecture today, is actually based on a ram's head horn? The horns of a ram's head. This is a horned Celtic god that was once worshipped back in Germany before the time of Christ. In the British Isles, Cernunnos was a druid horned god of nature. Notice the incredible resemblance, of course, to the Hindu deities. But wait, we expect this from the ancient mystery religions. But notice this modern-day logo. Is this old man Satan? In 1990, Procter & Gamble filed lawsuits against anyone who dared to say that their corporate logo was a picture or image of the devil. Of course, there has been no evidence whatsoever that any of the officials of Procter & Gamble, one of the world's largest makers of soap and detergent and other household products, is affiliated with the Church of Satan. In fact, there is no evidence at all that any of the officials are Satanists or witches or have any connection with Satan. But this old corporate logo is very, very suspicious. Perhaps Procter & Gamble has no knowledge at all of the true meaning. But does that not look like horns and the old man in the moon? We can only wonder. It is always surprising when we find horned representations of the devil in churches. Here at St. Peter's Cathedral in the Vatican in the city of Rome, we find, well, this statue of Moses by the famous artist Michelangelo. But wait, do you see the horns coming out the head of Moses? Is there anything in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that tells us that Moses had horns? Could we call this simply artistic license? Or is there another hidden meaning? We can also visit another church in the continent of Europe. In the Pyrenees Mountains of France, there sits a small Catholic chapel near the quaint remote town of Rennes-le-Château. And outside the church, over the entrance, is a message to those who would dare enter this Catholic stone chapel. It reads, Terribilis est locus iste, which translated in English means, this place is terrible. There's also a skull and bone stone carving on the exterior of the chapel at Rennes-le-Château in France. What about the place is terrible? And what about the bizarre rumors, strange stories claiming that inside, hidden in Rennes-le-Château chapel, is a secret passage, a literal entrance or opening to the fiery caverns of hell itself, located deep underground? What about these bizarre and macabre things? One thing we do know, as you enter the very door of this chapel at Rennes-le-Château, you find this statue of a horned black devil. He is carrying an ephah or basket, and above that are two small dragons, one of which has the head missing. Why would Catholic priest Bérenger Saunier install this diabolical statue far back in 1891? Why he did so is a mystery. Could it be that the rumors that this chapel is a portal to hell are true? And why would the Catholic Church not do something about this hideous, horned, black devil in this supposed church of God. Supposing you visit the fabulous city of London, England, you visit Hyde Park, you've heard so much about this marvelous public place, but wait, confronting you, you will find this statue of Pan, complete with cloven hooves, horn, and beard. And to make the matters worse, it's part of a sculpture collection called The Family of Man by artist Jacob Epstein. How is it that the people of London, thought to be mainly Christian believers, so easily tolerate this idol of Satan himself housed within their very midst? Of course, England itself seems to be populated by many of the Freemasonic order. England's Grand Lodge reveals that it too seems to have a lot of devotion and reverence for these Pan-like winged beings in this case. Here are some of the arms or the insignia of England's Grand Lodge. Notice these half-beast, half-man, or half-woman creatures. The goats. This book, published in England, Examine the Witches' God. Do the witches have a god? We know they worship the great goddess, but do they not worship Pan? And is Pan not shown here on the very cover of this book, the witches' god? Indeed he is. Some say that ivy and holly are his favored vegetation, and thus on the buildings of the campuses in America of Harvard, Yale, and other elite establishment colleges, we find this same vegetation. Pan, father of Hermes in the ancient mystery religion, god of secrecy, is often pictured as the green man, a vegetation-covered deity. When we walk along the sidewalks of most American cities today, we do not expect to find devils in stone, but indeed we do. Visit Houston, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, or in this case, West 88th Street in New York City. And notice the devil that is in the keystone above the window of this building. What is the devil doing in this strange location? And do the people who reside in this building or work in this building not have an eerie feeling about it? In Hollywood, California, the building that houses the Motion Picture Producers of America organization, have this devil, again with horns, in stone on the facade outside. Does this indicate that the devil, in fact, is the god of the Motion Picture Producers of America? Well, perhaps so. Back to New York City again. Just think of these places. You're walking along, and you come face to face with the devil. You say, where? Well, just look up, because here are some of the devils that we have discovered in our travels to the great city of New York. Yes, the devils seem to be staring, leering, mocking, grinning, menacing the passers-by. Sometimes they are festooned with serpents and other strange creatures. Some say, what are these idols doing in the great cities of the world, and especially the United States of America? What are these idols doing? Others would say, what does it matter? They're just creatures of stone. They have no intelligence of their own. But the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. But he says these gods are in fact devils, and they represent demons. The Holy Scriptures, in fact, tell us that often the devil and his demons inhabit, that is, actually possess these idols made of stone and wood. What does it mean then when we visit some of the most famous cathedrals and churches in the world and find the representations of the sinister devil? Overlooking the city of Paris, France, from high up on the west front of the famous Cathedral of Notre Dame is this bearded and horned stone devil. Here is another one at Notre Dame, and another, and another, and more. And more. The gargoyles, the devils, the creatures on top of this, one of the world's most famous cathedrals. What is this all about? Ah, yes. Well, of course, if we move from the largest cities in the world to some of the